Hi, this is What You're Waiting For, a woman's perspective on camping and survival. And I haven't done an update lately on things that we're doing around here, but mostly our garden. So I wanted to go ahead and tell you what a complete disaster it was this year. Um, we started the land. This is the first year to have our garden, and we decided we would prematurely plant the garden, meaning we paid somebody to get their tractor and till it up. I wanted to wait 2 weeks and do another till. Of course, we didn't do that because we were so pumped into doing it, which we should have done. And our garden was just overran with weeds very, very badly. The one little section that we put the strawberries, we actually tilled it up and then waited a week and a half, 2 weeks, and tilled it up again. Guess what? No weeds. The other one is full of weeds. Um, Another thing that happened is we weren't expecting the really, really dry, no rain, and we still don't have water at the land yet, and we've been carting the water in, watering the trees and the plants. And I think we were just too ambitious with how big of a garden we did. And there was a few days that we couldn't get out there. Also, we'd take the big 55 gallons, and it just wouldn't be enough to cover, a third of the garden. So that was another downfall. Another thing that happened, um, we've been buying corn. Usually, before when we had the other land that we lived in, we bought corn from the feed store, and it was really great. But we had bought Walmart corn the last time that we had a garden at the other house, and the little bitty corns were about this big when we harvested them. They were terrible. Well, I guess we did not learn, and we bought some more Walmart corn, and my husband planted it, and we had some corn not near what we should have, but they were only about, maybe this big. And before, we had the nice, juicy, really good corn. The corn that he picked this year had no flavor whatsoever. That also might be because of the water. So it was just a really bad choice of a crop. And my husband sort of just did it really fast. Part of it um, germinated, some of it didn't. It might have been from the seeds. It was just really bad, and unless I'm there full time, and unless next year we might try to get the other seeds from the feed store, and also if we have a little bit more water and can babysit them a little better, I think maybe it'll be better. But we're learning from our mistakes. Um, Another thing that happened is we went there one day, and we have a fence on 3 sides of our property. The last section, they are trying to build a fence, the neighbors. And so we don't have a fence on all 4 sides. And somehow, we were looking in the garden, and it was looking really bad. And my husband said, "Oh my gosh, it looks like a horse hoof." And yeah, it was. There was horse hooves all through our garden. And we followed them around, and right where our new little cucumbers were coming up earlier this year, a lot of the plants, that was where he picked to lay down and, like, I guess, wallow in the dirt. So all of our cucumber plants were demolished. We also had some problems with gophers. Gophers again. We've been trying. We tried those little sound things where you put them in the ground and they make a beeping sound. We put them next to the trees. Well, the trees weren't hit this year, but they sort of moved towards our garden. So we're still working on getting rid of our gophers. Another thing that happened, we planted tons and tons of onions, and I wanted to show you. Well, my husband went ahead and harvested them, and yeah, they're small. I mean, you can see they're little bitty. Because we think the neighbors are building a fence, and maybe the people that they hired to help build the fence, um, just thought it was a really good idea to just come and take some of our onions. And so a lot of our onions, the bigger ones, my husband went out and had seen that they were, popping out of the ground and they were pretty decent size. Well, all of those onions were somehow pulled up. Um, I'm not placing any blame. I mean, it could have been a gopher. I don't think so, because it was just like the big ones. So we have been having a lot of problems with our garden this year. Um, Also, next year for sure we need to fertilize a little bit better. And we've been having a lot of problems with the tomatoes with the hornworms. I guess that's what they're called, the little green ones. Uh, so we're going to have to use some kind of pesticide next year. Once we get where we can be over there all the time, I think it'd be a lot better. I mean, this was just like a trial garden, but this trial just went miserably wrong this year. The strawberries were pretty good. They didn't yield as much as we wanted, but I didn't really expect a big yield this year, possibly next year. The blackberries were wonderful. They were already established on the property around the pond, and we just went and picked. We ate, I love blackberries. We ate on them for about a month, and harvesting a few at a time, a couple bags at a time, and then we froze some. So hopefully I'm going to get to that when I get more of a chance, during the day, with the kids being home to help me do blackberry jelly. So we're hoping to get to that. Uh, our bunnies this year, a complete success. Um, we love our little bunnies. You saw the blast things. They're just growing, it seems like, every single day. Uh, we got two black bunnies out of it. Not sure if they're boys or girls. It's really hard to tell when they're this young. So I'm hoping at least one of them is a girl. I would love to keep that one and mate it with our other black bunny that's a male. That's not the dad. It's just another one we haven't mated yet. And if we can do that, I think the offspring of just total black bunnies would be easier for the kids to understand to eat rather than the cute ones. Mixing the black, our gray bunny, with our tan bunny, we have a lot of different colored ones. And, you know, you just sort of get attached to certain ones. But the two black bunnies, I think, total black if all of them turn out black, or if we decide to later do the white bunnies, I think it would be a lot easier to eat them. But anyway, so the bunny's success, the garden, pretty much a total failure. We're still, this year, it's been funny with our fruit trees. They've been fruiting, and then the fruit have been falling off, and the heat, and then the excess rain, and it's just, the weather has just not been very good to us this year. We still have peaches on the peach trees. They're not quite ripe yet. We planted 3 persimmon trees, and apparently one of them has died. We still have 2. I don't think it's from gophers this time. I think it was just because it was very weak looking when we planted it, and the other 2 were very thriving. So I think it was just, bad when we planted it. Our fig tree actually had a few figs on it, and I'm really hoping, when we left our other house, we had a fig tree, and I loved it. It was just a humongous tree. We had so many figs we shared with everybody in the neighborhood because it just was so bountiful. But we loved it, and I just hope that this one survives. The other fig tree we had from last year did survive, but my husband actually ran over it with the lawnmower, not thinking that it was still alive. Yeah, he got yelled at. We also had a lime tree that pretty much did the same thing. It was no leaves, but after he ran over it accidentally, a few weeks later it had a small leaf on it, so we're hoping that that might still take off. Apple trees are looking good. Plum trees are looking good. No fruit, but we didn't really expect it because they've only been in there a year, 2 years. Um, but I just wanted to give you a quick, update on the garden, the miserable little garden. None of my herbs took. The lettuce was pretty good for the bunnies, but other than that, we didn't really do all that great. I really think we need to get some manure mixed in. We've been trying to save the rabbit manure, you know, wanting to mix it in. And we actually did make a compost tea out of it for the strawberries. And we put some around some of them. So I think that's why we had a better strawberry uh, harvest than we really expected. And they were very sweet, very good. Small, but they were very juicy and very good taste. As you can see, we got tons of onions, but not near the size that we wanted, and we shouldn't really have took them up, but my husband was afraid that the people would probably, or gopher, if that's what it was, would come back and take the rest. So for sure, onions we'll be doing another time. We really need to get the rest of the fence up, and we need to get the water going on the property. Money has just been really tough this year. Um, you know, they say, oh, the recession's over, and a lot of people are saying, oh, it's really picking up. For us, not too much. So we're still waiting. We're still wanting to build over there, waiting. Uh, you know, my daughter's just started college and stuff, so we're putting a lot of money into getting her started for college, and so hopefully we'll be able to get to it, but it's just taking us a longer timetable than we expected. So I just wanted to give you an update, and that's what's going on with us and what you waiting for. Bye.